This Saturday at 9 p.m., Matt Waller, live at Walters. One man, many sounds. Join Walters for an unforgettable night with Matt Waller as he brings his unique looping magic to life, layering live drum beats, bass lines, and guitar riffs to create full band soundscapes using just his acoustic guitar. From hip-hop and R&B to reggae, pop, country, and rock, Matt delivers jaw-dropping renditions of your favorite songs across every genre. Don't miss this. Bring your crew, grab your favorite drink, and vibe out with Walters.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Parker kicks, delivers a pitch, swinging a ground ball, fair. Inside the bag, down the right field line, will clear the bases. With a double, 2 runs home. The Nationals have paid dearly in this inning for the hit batter and not getting outs on consecutive bunts. 4 runs are home. It's the Marlins 4, the Nationals nothing.
4-0 Miami, 2 outs in the 6th inning for Josh Bell. Here's the pitch. Swinging a long drive right field, down the line toward the corner. This one way back. It is going, and it is gone into the upper deck. So Josh Bell gets the Nationals on the scoreboard. His 2nd homer of the year. It's now Miami 4 and the Nationals 2.
Runners lead from all 3 bases. Bases loaded. The kick and the 2-2 pitch. Swinging a line drive toward the left field line. Will it be fair? It is down on the line and into the corner. This is going to clear the bases. Ruiz has scored. Garcia has scored. Cole to the plate. Dives in ahead of the throw as Nathaniel Lowe pumps and fists standing on second base. And the Nationals take the lead here in the top of the 8th inning. It's Washington 5 and Miami 4. Arias kicks, delivers, swinging a drive it well to deep left center field. No one's catching this one, and this one is gone. Goodbye. Bang, zoom goes James Wood with another one of his patented home runs that somehow gets over the wall in left center field. That is his 4th home run in the last 4 games. His 5th of the year, RBI number 11, and gives the Nationals an insurance run here in the top of the 9th. It's Washington 6, Miami 4.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast, and we, for the first time in MLB's 2025 regular season, have a Nationals road win, a 7-4 win at the Miami Marlins on Friday night in Game 1 of a 3-game series and Game 1 of a 10-game road trip. The Nats now are 6-7, which is made up of being 5-1 since a 1-6 start. And the Nats on Friday night overcame a 4-0 6th inning deficit. You could find us on X at Nats_chat. You can hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a website that we invite you to check out, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. Well, brace yourselves for this. The streak is over. 3 Nats relievers on Friday night combined for 3 scoreless innings. First time in 13 games this regular season that Nats relievers did not allow a run in a game. We had been waiting for this. It finally has happened. Remember where you are so you can remember where you were. We later in the show will properly commemorate this achievement. But Mark, the Nats on Friday night, they win. They score all 7 of their runs over the game's final 4 innings. And Mitchell Parker, He had a rough fifth inning, that is true, but part of yet another Nats win. I mentioned the Nats being 6-7. That includes being 3-0 when Parker pitches. When Parker pitches, the Nats win.
He's the stopper, as we've said, although he left with them trailing, so I guess not necessarily apply in this case. I was wondering before we started whether you were going to lead with the bullpen streak ending or not, and you did, which is fine, but I think the story of this game is offense, and particularly what they did late to rally. I think, look, I know it's the Marlins, and so you got to take it with a little grain of salt here, but I actually was really impressed with this win, the way they went about it. The way they came back, the quality of at-bats they had, and the contributions they had to get from a lot of different people. They had people out of position late in this game. They had a defensive alignment that you would not normally draw up, but it worked. You had Josh Bell for the first time playing first base and not only contributing at the plate, but contributing in the field and on the bases as well. And you had Nathaniel Lowe sick, unable to play. That's why Bell was at first base, coming off the bench with maybe the best at-bat of the season to date, a 10-pitch at-bat ending in a bases-loaded double. There was a lot of really good stuff to like in this one. And again, I understand who they're facing, and it's maybe not the toughest opponent, but the way they kind of seized control of that game over the final 3 innings, I was very impressed with that.
The offense took over as the game went on, for sure. Before we go any further, a developing situation with CJ Abrams. So he was the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter. He went 0 for 1 with a walk and a stolen base. He left the game in the middle of the 4th inning. We come to find out he left the game due to aggravating his hip flexor injury, which just caused him to miss 2 consecutive games here recently. I know you can't tell the future, but does this sound to you like Abrams may be headed for the 10-day injured list?
You hope it doesn't come to that, but it does seem like this is a lingering issue. And you saw a replay later on as they went back and tried to figure out what it was. He goes to steal second in the 3rd inning and got up from that a little bit, not 100%, you could tell, favoring the leg. Made a play in the field the following inning and I guess didn't feel well after that. And so that's when he came out of it. When you have these little nagging things, you always say, well, give him a couple days. Let's not push it. Okay, he's back. He's fine. Let's move on. You don't want to rush him back because you don't want it to become something worse. Well, here we are a couple days later, and he has to leave another game. That is the kind of thing that doesn't just disappear overnight. So you do worry a little bit about that. Let's see what happens Saturday. My guess is that they will just automatically give him Saturday off, not even take a chance. So maybe until Sunday before we know more. You hope it doesn't result in an IL stint because he really is off to a good start this season. And the fact that they scored all those runs without him being a part of this and without Nathaniel Lowe being in the lineup until that one big hit late, it was a nice game for other guys. But as we know, in the long run, they need CJ Abrams. This is not somebody they can afford to miss for any length of time.
Yeah, the Nats have had the recent success despite Abrams being hurt. He missed the first 2 games of the Dodgers series. The Nats went 2-0 over those 2 games. So the Nats offense ended up having another good game on Friday night. Wasn't looking like it was going to be a good game for the offense, but the offense got going over the final 4 innings. The Nats ultimately totaled 7 runs, 9 hits, and 7 walks. Another high walk outing for the Nats, a 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and the 9 hits were 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and 4 singles. So the Nats in this game had more extra base hits than the team had singles. And the hit of the game, the plate appearance of the game, as Mark suggested, perhaps the plate appearance of the season, Nathaniel Lowe, or should I say Kirk Gibson, a Gibsonian-like pinch hit appearance for Nathaniel Lowe. He was a late scratch due to illness. He, in the top of the 8th, has a pinch, 1 out, bases loaded, opposite field, 3-run double to left field. Despite having been down at 1.12, the double concluded a 10-pitch plate appearance in which he fouled off 5 pitches. And if you're watching this plate appearance, Lowe did not look well. You could tell this guy is not 100%, and he's fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch. And if you watch baseball, you know when a guy does that, it does tend to result in a hit. At least it feels that way because he's timing things just a bit off on timing things, but the reliever isn't blowing things by the batter. The reliever is getting fatigued. Nathaniel Lowe is what you like to call a professional hitter. And sure enough, he comes through with that opposite field 3-run double. What a job by Nathaniel Lowe.
I'm looking at the pitch by pitch on game day right now, and you can see that Anthony Bender, the Marlins reliever, is throwing him everything he's got. He goes four-seamer, slider, slider, sweeper, change-up, four-seamer, change-up, sweeper, sweeper, sinker. So he threw the kitchen sink at him, and Lowe keeps fouling off these two-strike pitches. Most of them were down at the bottom of the zone. He goes up with a sweeper and fouls one off that's actually above the strike zone, and then finally gets something towards the middle of the plate and does the damage on that one. Such a professional at bat, fighting off tough pitches, waiting to finally get one he could do something with, and then just perfectly placing it right on the chalk on the left field line. And now it was just a question of, can he make it to second base without vomiting or whatever else might be going on with him, because he is clearly sick. He did. All 3 runs score, and then he immediately comes out for a pinch runner, and he was already left the ballpark by the time the game ended. They sent him home to rest up, so nobody got to interview him afterwards. Maybe it's a good thing both for his own sake and for everyone else's sake in case it's something contagious. What a gutsy at bat from him, from a guy who I think he's exceeded expectations here so far in 13 games. He has really come through for them in the power department, in this case, in the just clutch at bat department, obviously in the defensive department. He's been everything they wanted him to be and more so far in the first 13 games of this season.
Yeah, Lowe for this regular season is number 3 among all qualified Nats players in slugging percentage at .543, is number 4 in OPS at .863, and you could argue has been the most consistent offensive player. I mean, I'd say either him or K-Bit Ruiz, but Nathaniel Lowe, game in, game out, just a very steady presence in that lineup, and man, what a job by him in that plate appearance on Friday night. So Nathaniel Lowe comes through with a big hit. James Wood came through with multiple extra base hits in this game. He is the Nats starting DH and number 2 batter, 2 for 5 with a solo homer and a double. Wood in the top of the first, a one-out opposite field double to deep left center field, and Wood in the Nats 2-run ninth, leadoff opposite field home run to left center field for a 6-4 Nats lead. Coincidence or not, James Wood as the designated hitter, once again, having a big game.
Maybe he might grow into that position here a little bit over time. He said he doesn't like to do it, but the results would suggest otherwise. That home run was incredible. I think it fooled everyone off the bat. You knew he hit it solid, but you didn't know he was able to hit it as far as he did. It was a bullet, 110 miles an hour, and it barely went off the ground. It just kept going and going to the deepest part of really one of the toughest ballparks in the majors to hit them out of, at Marlins Park, or whatever it's called now, Lone Depot Park. That was such a shot. And I just keep thinking to myself now, he's got 5 of them, right? 4 in the last 4 games. 4 of them have been almost identical in terms of bullets to left center field like that. He pulled the one to right center the other night when he had the 2-homer game. This is quickly becoming James Wood territory, left center field. It is his natural swing. And there are very few guys in the major leagues that hit a ball with authority to the opposite field like that as James Wood does. And it's a sight to behold. And once again, really important tack on runs late. He did it the other night as well against the Dodgers. It turns a 1-run cushion into a 2-run cushion. They add another one after that, give some breathing room to Kyle Finnegan. I really like to see that sustaining of the offense late in the game. Even after you have a lead, don't let up. Keep going. Put the game out of reach.
It was remarkable how the Nats went from being shut out over the first 5 innings to erupting for the 7 runs over the final 4 innings. 2 runs top of the 6th, 3 runs top of the 8th, 2 runs top of the 9th. The Nats scored the game's final 7 runs. Also homering in this game for the Nats was Josh Bell. Bell was the Nats starting first baseman with Nathaniel Lowe being sick, was the Nats number 5 batter, 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer and a walk. Bell in that Nats 2-run 6th, a 2-out first pitch, 2-run homer to right field to cut the Nats deficit to 4-2, and Bell in the Nats 2-run 9th, drawing a 2-out walk. And Alex Call, another impressive game for him. He got on base 4 times. He continues to play game in, game out. He was the Nats starting left fielder and number 6 batter on Friday night, 2 for 3 with an RBI double, a single, and 2 walks. Call in that Nats 2-run 9th, a 2-out RBI double to left field on a 1-2 pitch for a 7-4 Nats lead. He hasn't been the Nats' most productive batter because he hasn't played enough to earn that honor, but you certainly could argue he's been the most pleasant surprise so far this season. Alex Call has been really productive.
He wasn't even supposed to be in the lineup for this one. He was originally going to be out, which is kind of a rarity these days. And the domino effect of Nathaniel Lowe being scratched is that Josh Bell moves from DH to first base. James Wood moves from left field to DH, and that opens up left field for Alex Call. And what does he do with the opportunity? He absolutely runs with it, reaches base 4 times. I love his walks because I think deep down, I think he would rather draw a walk than hit a triple. Like the way he reacts to walks, he flips the bat in almost like defiantly. Like, yeah, take that. He works the count as well as anybody. He loves drawing the walk. And then what he's doing on the swings that I think is impressive and maybe the biggest difference from now to maybe a couple years ago when he played a lot and just did not perform well, he's cut down on the swing. It's much shorter, compact. He's just trying to make good, solid line drive contact. And even on that triple, that's what it was. It was just a line drive to left center field and it got past the diving Griffin Conine and he turns it into a triple. I think he got in trouble a few years ago thinking he could hit home runs and started really pulling off and trying to hit everything in the air to left field. He's just taking a nice, short, compact swing right now, in addition to taking his walks, not chasing out of the zone. It's been a pleasure to watch him play, and he keeps forcing this issue where it's going to be tough for Davey Martinez to take him out of the lineup. I want to go back to Josh Bell, though. That home run, that was a great example of what they're trying to get out of him now. It didn't look necessarily like he got the full barrel on it, but he kept his hands inside on a pitch down and in and got enough of it, and he's got that like high finish now. He's lifting the ball in the air. This is by design, trying to hit for more power. It's exactly what he did on that home run. I know it's been a rough first couple weeks for him, but when he has contributed, they've been big. A couple of home runs now. That was an important one to finally get the offense going against Edwin Cabrera. So I really like that. And then I loved the way he contributed in the field, playing first base for the first time this year. He had to make some stretches. He had to go flying into the netting to catch a foul ball. And then on the call triple, he's got to score all the way from first and elude the tag at the plate. It's not always the prettiest thing with Josh Bell. We know physically what he is, but this guy plays as hard as anybody, gives his body up, and I really enjoyed getting to see him do that and not just be the DH for one night.
Well, he is an athlete. I mean, I don't know what his sprint speed is, but just watching him, he can move. It's not like he's immobile. He's a big guy, no question, but he can move. And we saw that in this game. And, you look at the Nats now, 18 home runs over 13 games. How wonderful is that? All the Nats have to do is average a homer per game, and that's a substantial increase in terms of the home run total from last regular season. But there's also this, 13 games for the Nats now. 18 homers, 22 doubles, 2 triples. That's 42 hits. The Nats have a total of 99 hits. 42 of the 99 hits have been extra base hits. A rather substantial portion of the Nats hits have been extra base hits. They're actually hitting for power, the Nats are. You could argue what's missing really is the single, which has been the thing that the Nats had done in abundance in recent years.
I was just going to say, this is such a reversal of what we've seen from them, where they would lead the league in singles every year and not hit for any power. And now they're not getting as many hits overall, but they are making the hits count by hitting doubles and triples and homers, as you said. And this is by design, both in terms of the players they've acquired, who were supposed to provide that for them, but it's also just the natural development of some of these other guys and getting better swings off. And it's been such a revelation. And as we keep saying, when you hit for power like that, it masks a lot of other deficiencies. For 5 innings in this game, they looked awful at the plate. Edward Cabrera was carving them up, getting really quick outs. And you thought this is one of those nights, we've seen enough of them over the last few years, where you get to the end and you say, well, tip your cap to the opposing pitcher. He was just really good and they couldn't do anything with it. And as soon as Bell hits that home run, they flip the switch. They start hitting for power. They're drawing walks, as you said, which was important as well. And they turned that into a really good offensive night, despite doing nothing for 5 innings. This has been such an important development for them. And it's why I do think in the long run, we're going to be talking about a team that is very competitive from an offensive standpoint. I think we discussed before the season, like how many guys do they have who could hit 20 plus homers? And I said, they actually have a majority of the guys in their lineup are capable of doing it. And you're seeing it. And they've hit all those home runs, as you said, as a team, despite Bell just finally hitting his second one, despite Abrams missing some games, despite Paul DeYoung has done nothing. Dylan Cruz is still struggling and hasn't done a whole lot. I think Luis Garcia has 1 homer so far. That shows you how deep the lineup can be, that they are among the league leaders in home runs, even though several of these guys are not really contributing that much yet.
Well, and if the rise in walks is legit, 7 walks now each of the last 2 games, you're hitting for power, you're drawing walks. That's a formula that can work. And, you talk about covering up some flaws when you hit for power, what that does. 3 errors for the Nats on Friday night, and yet the team ends up winning. The power, a big part of the reason why.
Tim Shover's here to tell you about Babbel. Did you know that the Nats are on the Spanish radio airwaves for the 2nd consecutive season?
Joven. Batazo fuerte por la línea izquierda. La bola se va, se va. Se fue la fruta. Home run, Andrés Chaparro.
If you want to know what Luciano and Gustavo are saying on the broadcast on calls such as this one, then check out Babbel. And here's their special offer for Nats Chat listeners. 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/NatsChat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/NatsChat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/NatsChat. Babbel.com/NatsChat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Parker ready. He kicks and he fires. Swinging a ground ball, deflects off the pitcher's glove slightly, right to Garcia near the bag. He takes his time, he throws to first, and Mitchell Parker's able to strand a runner at third after a leadoff triple here in the bottom of the 4th. What a job by Parker. A ground out, a strikeout, and a ground out. And Stowers never leaves third base.
So Mitchell Parker was the Nats starting pitcher in this 7-4 win at the Marlins on Friday night. He had the worst of his 3 outings this regular season, but the Nats won again, 3-0 now when Parker pitches. 4 runs, 3 earned in 6 innings. He gave up 5 hits, which were a triple, a double, and 3 singles. He issued 2 walks and a hit by pitch. He recorded 3 strikeouts. He did throw a lot of strikes, 96 pitches, 66 strikes versus just 30 balls. Now, all 4 of the runs that Parker allowed came in the bottom of the fifth, during which each of the first 3 plate appearances resulted in a mistake of some kind by Parker. And this happened while he was facing the bottom of the Marlins order, and included in the mistakes 2 fielding miscues. Parker issued a leadoff first pitch, hit by pitch of the Marlins' number 7 batter, Liam Hicks. Parker then was rather slow in fielding a bunt by the Marlins' number 8 batter, Javier Sanoa, resulting in him being safe at first in what was ruled a bunt single. Parker then committed a throwing error on a sacrifice bunt by the Marlins' number 9 batter, Graham Pauley, to load the bases with no outs. So Parker threw too high to first baseman Josh Bell in fielding a bunt. You could argue that that bunt should have been fielded by third baseman Ahmed Rosario, but Parker got to the ball and then made the errant throw. And then Parker gave up 2 big hits, gave up a bases-loaded, full-count 2-run single by Xavier Edwards up the middle for a 2-0 Marlins lead, and gave up a one-out 2-run double by Kyle Stowers down the right field line for a 4-0 Marlins lead. Parker, beyond the 5th inning, really wasn't that bad in this game, but that 5th inning was ugly.
It was one bad inning, and, those of us who follow this team have been wondering for a long time, would anyone really try to put the pressure on him from a defensive standpoint? Bunt the ball in his direction and force him to make plays. We know the reputation. You've got to believe everyone around baseball knows it, and here were the Marlins trying to actually take advantage of it, and they did. Now, I didn't think there were any egregious mistakes on his part. I thought they were very well-placed bunts. I thought the air was a, 50-50 kind of thing. And as you mentioned, there's a play that Rosario maybe could have taken instead. But they did force that issue on him and made him have to field the ball and do something, and it worked to their benefit. And you just have to wonder, are more teams going to try to do this? And at what point does it become really an issue where you wonder if it consumes him and takes over some of these starts? Now, the bigger issue wasn't so much that as what happened after, that he couldn't stop the bleeding, and they gave up the 2 big hits to allow for the 4 runs to score. So even if you're going to struggle in the field, once they're swinging away, you got to bear down, make the right pitches, and avoid the big inning. But what I will give him credit for, after the 2-run double by Stowers, there's still a chance for this thing to get completely out of control. Maybe he doesn't even finish the inning. He gets 2 ground balls to end the inning, and then comes back for the 6th and was really good and actually got through the 6th inning. And so it's a small thing. It didn't make this into a good start because it wasn't that. But he did at least turn it around enough to finish it, get a little deeper in the game, take an inning away from the bullpen, and not let that one disastrous inning spiral completely out of control against him.
Yeah, and 6 innings. So, Parker does at least consume a good number of innings. I think it's interesting with teams potentially testing Parker as a fielder, because you could argue from an Nats perspective, if Parker's bad fielding compels opposing teams to put down bunts to test Parker, then that in some ways is a win for the Nats, because teams aren't trying to get true hits, like they're just putting down bunts. At the same time, yes, if Parker's having a hard time fielding those bunts, then you do have a problem. But like we said, beyond that 5th inning, Mitchell Parker did have another good outing, but that was a rough 5th inning to be sure. And the Nats bullpen, like we said, coming through with 3 scoreless innings in this game on Friday night. You weren't sure what to think. The Nats had rallied from being down 4-0. You said, is this going to be a feel-good Friday night victory? Is this going to be a game in which the Nats come back to take a lead and then give up that lead? No. 3 shutout innings from the pen. Wasn't always pretty, but 3 shutout innings we shall take. Lucas Sims tossed a scoreless bottom of the 7th. Despite issuing 2 walks and committing a throwing error on a pickoff attempt, Sims in his outing threw 17 pitches, a mere 8 strikes versus 9 balls. Jose A. Ferrer scoreless bottom of the 8th, despite issuing a 1-out hit by pitch and giving up a 1-out single. And Kyle Finnegan scoreless bottom of the 9th for the save, despite giving up a leadoff double. So you didn't have anything in the way of a clean inning, but that's okay. 3 scoreless innings. This is normal. This is how it should be. Hopefully it's the first of many shutout outings from this Nats bullpen to come.
5 combined base runners in those 3 scoreless innings. Walking the tightrope, but they got it done. How did they get it done? First of all, great play in right field by Dylan Cruz on the line drive to the gap by Stowers. That saved that inning from getting away from Lucas Sims completely.
Here's the set, and there goes the runner. Pitch is swung on and blasted to deep right. This one is way back. Cruz leaps, and he makes a spectacular catch. Throws it back in toward first. Edwards will get back there as the throw comes rolling in.
In the 8th, Jose Ferrer gets in trouble with 2 on, and he makes a great pitch a changeup to Xavier Edwards, one of the Marlins' better hitters, to get out of that jam. You saw him show some emotion and excitement with that. And then Kyle Finnegan, I know it's the leadoff double, but didn't sweat that at all. Went right after them, 1, 2, 3. And oh, by the way, all the concern about Kyle Finnegan, he's now 5 for 5 in save opportunities with a 1.35 ERA. Maybe he's not the lockdown Mariano Rivera. Maybe he doesn't get tons of swings and misses, but this guy has experience, doesn't get rattled. He's been getting the job done, and we know he's a workhorse, and that's now 5 saves from him out of their 6 victories as a team. And the only game he didn't get to save, he wasn't available because he had already pitched 3 nights in a row prior to that point.
Hey Nats Chat, Tim Shover's here to tell you about the latest offer that Peak Tea has for our listeners. This one, the Nandica Tea, the ultimate fuel for performance. If you're like me and you see the rising cost of coffee, you're looking for a bit of an alternative, but you still need caffeine because of all those early mornings and late nights, then check this out, and they have a really good offer for our listeners. Nandica Tea has sustained crash-free energy, it boosts endurance and strength, and supports your digestive health. So not only gets you caffeine, but also it's good for you. So if you're tired of energy crashes and sluggish recovery, give us a shot. Peak is offering 20% off for life and a free starter kit with your first purchase. Go to peaklife.com/NatsChat. That's PIQUE life.com/NATSCHAT and start training on real energy today. Your workouts, your recovery, and your gains will thank you.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Ferrer sets, kicks and he fires, and a swing and a miss. He struck him out with a changeup. Jose Ferrer with a big-time pitch in a big spot gets out of trouble and out of the bottom of the 8th inning.
10-game road trip, as we have said, a manageable 10-game road trip in terms of the opposition. 3 games at the Miami Marlins, 4 games at the Pittsburgh Pirates, 3 games at the Colorado Rockies. Nats begin the road trip with a win. Now are just a game under 500, can get to 500 for the first time this regular season with a game on Saturday. Internally, what do you think the Nats are thinking in terms of this 10-game road trip? I would think they're thinking 6-4. Now, they would never come out and say this, nor should they come out and say this. But if I'm the Nats, I'm looking at this road trip and I'm saying 6-4 minimum, very doable, maybe even better than that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think winning road trip for sure. And 7-3 would look awfully appealing. Out of the 3, the Marlins have probably played the best so far. And as you saw there in this game, like there's still the Marlins. There's not a lot to get worried about. Probably the biggest fear is that you have to face Sandy Alcantara on Saturday. So that's going to be the challenge against him. The Pirates are not playing well. It's a 4-game series. It's tough to win 3 out of 4 on the road against anybody. And it looks like they're going to face Paul Skeens, I think, on Monday. It's not official yet. So that's obviously a big challenge for them. And then the Rockies are not very good. But we do know Coors Field. You never know what can happen there, and games can get kind of wacky on them. But I would think there's a feeling there of go at least, say, 2 out of 3 in Miami, split the series in Pittsburgh, and 2 out of 3 in Colorado. That takes you to 6-4. There are different paths to get there, of course, but that would seem like the safest, most logical route to get there. And if they do that, long way to go, but if they do that, they're going to come home with a 500 record. And if they can go 7-3, they're going to come home with a winning record. And that has got to be a big confidence boost for them. And just for everyone who's following this team and waiting to see, hey, can they turn that page? Can this team be successful? Can you get off to a good start? We keep saying almost every year that Davey Martinez has been here, they've had a bad April, or at least an average April at best. Could they actually have a good April? It's set up for them to do that. Of course, they have to go out there and now actually execute it.
Yeah, and being at 500 at the end of this road trip, that would put you at 11-11 deep into April. So you'd be in position to have that elusive quality April. And we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but after the 10-game road trip is a 3-game series against the Orioles at Nationals Park. The Orioles, in case you're not following them, are struggling. They're not playing well. They have been bludgeoned by injuries. So, that would seem to be a series in which the Nats could pick up at least a couple of victories. We shall see. So Trevor Williams will be the Nats starting pitcher for Game 2 of this series on Saturday. He's allowed 3 runs in 5 innings in each of his first 2 starts this regular season. What are you looking for from Trevor Williams on Saturday?
Keep the ball down, avoid the big innings, of course. Probably not a lot of margin for error facing Alcantara, as we know. And do they limit him to 5 innings again? That's been the standard. Don't let him go too deep. Now, if he's having success against the Marlins, maybe you try to push that, but I feel like they don't want to mess with the formula. They know what works, and why mess around with that now? He, like a lot of these guys, they aren't getting great pitching performances outside of Mackenzie Gore, but they've all been just good enough to keep them in these games. They're all providing length. I think everybody's gone at least 5 innings so far, and that's been good enough for now. And I think we know that the odds of Trevor Williams duplicating his 2.03 ERA from a year ago are pretty slim. But he can be a very effective pitcher if he keeps it down in the zone, avoids the loud contact, gives you 5 quality innings twice through the lineup, and then hands it off to the bullpen. He can be a very effective back of the rotation starter for them.
Nats over 13 games, 69 and a third innings from starting pitchers, ERA 3.76. You tell us what you think. You can hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the show. Email the man who runs the show, Tim Shovers. Again, the email address, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Now the pitch. Breaking ball line to left center field. Coming over, Conine dives, can't get it. It's by him and he has to get up and chase it. Bell heads for third. They're going to wave him home. Relay bouncing into the second baseman. The throw by Otto Ples to the plate is not in time. And Bell scores. The gamble by Ricky Gutierrez to send Bell with 2 out of the inning pays off. He scores all the way from first. The Nationals add on here in the top of the 9th. Now Washington 7 and Miami 4.
With the beginning of April, it's the end of the tournament. That means the Masters is starting soon. So whether it's Masters picks, course preview, interviews with players, bets, fantasy picks, the Pat Mayo Experience has you covered every day leading into the tournament, during the tournament, and after the tournament at Augusta National. So, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience right now. For the video, you hit up the Pat Mayo Experience on YouTube. For the audio, you go to Spotify, Apple, or wherever you download your podcast. The Pat Mayo Experience, the only place you will need for all your golf coverage.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!